Hey everyone, so today we are trying out a bunch of first impressions and some new products and some products that are new to me. I created this fall look. I have my mustard sweater on and I wanted to create a fall look that, really reminded me of the fall leaves, of the oranges and the yellow and the browns and how they just all sort of meld together, and I wanted to create that for you guys today. So if you would like to see how I created this look and to see some of the new products that I'm trying out, keep on watching. So we are trying out some new to me makeup today. So we are going to hop right in. To start, I'm going to be using the new Hard Candy Hydrating Sheer and Be Primer. I did do a recent video of this, trying it as a dupe to the Milk Hydro Grip. I'll link that video below for you guys to go check it out. This is still fairly new to me, so I'm going to give it a go with some of these new products I have today to try. Priming my eyes first with the MAC Paint Pot. Now this is not new to me, but this is my favorite eyeshadow primer. So we are going to be trying a mixture of some palettes today to create a fall look. So I want to give this new palette that I'm trying the best shot it can have. So I'm going to be using a mixture of palettes to create this look, but this is the new palette that I'm trying out. This is from Wet n Wild. This is the Fantasy Makers 10 Pan eyeshadow palette. This is one of the new ones they have out for Halloween, but I really liked the color story with these mint colors, some browns, and these pretty mustardy yellows. So I know I'm wearing a mustardy colored shirt today, but I really like this brown that's in it. It really kind of reminds me of like sunflowers. So I think I'm gonna create a, red, brick, red, brown look today. So I'm just gonna start by dusting over the lid with this top transition shade just to powder down the primer. I am going to dip into the Story Matte in the Tati Beauty palette. I'm just going to take like this and start packing it on the lid. Gonna take a little bit of this Soothe Matte as well, just sort of mixing them together. Just blending that right into the crease, and I'm actually going to bring it down on the lid. Taking a fluffy brush, I'm just going to go over the edges in the crease and just start blending that out, just softening that combo, and just doing the same on the other lid. Alright, so now I want to deepen up the red just a little bit, so I'm going to use in the Nudes of New York palette this darker Globetrotter shade, this more darker maroony red. So, and I think I'm gonna mix that with a little bit of Explorer just to deepen up the red a tad bit. Focusing that more in this outer section. Once I've blended that out on this outer third, I'm going to take whatever's left on the brush and sweep it into the crease. Now I'm going to take this brown shade in this Wet n Wild palette and start putting a little bit more darkness on the outer portion of the eye, but bringing it more towards the waterline here. The key to this type of look is really just doing a good smooth blend. So having a fluffy brush like this really helps buff out those edges and smooth them out and blend the color together. Alright, so now I want to build up that red-orange color back into the inner portion of the eye before I go in with a little bit of shimmer. So I'm going to dip back solely into the Story shade. And just focusing that on the inner portion, blending it into the middle. Really going over that edge where the dark and the orange meet to really give it a smooth appearance, blended together. Now I'm going to apply a little bit of shimmer into the inner third of the eye. I'm going to use this shimmery gold shade up here in this Wet n Wild palette, and I'm just going to use my finger. I'm using a very light hand because I don't want it to be too shimmery and completely take over the orange that's laid down underneath. I just want it to amplify the orange. So now that we have the eyes done, we are going to start on our complexion. So for foundation today, we're trying the Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation. Now I know this isn't new, but this is new to me, so I am really excited to try this. So this is the component. It has this well here for you to push the product out, and you are able to dip right into the well with your brush to get the product, or sponge. This is a Liquid Whip Longwear foundation. I will be doing a full foundation review of this, but today I'm just going to try it out for the first time and see how I like it. So this is in the shade 140N. I'm going to pump it out onto the component. Oh! Squirted all over me. Alright, well, I wouldn't hold it straight up at the angle like that unless you want it to end up all over you. Just dot that on my face, but let's try this again at an angle. Alright, so that's 2 pumps, and today I'm going to be using a brush. And I'm starting to stipple the product in. I like the coverage so far. Looks like about medium coverage. I do like the idea of this component, but so far I'm noticing it's getting really messy right at the nozzle area. I'm gonna take my sponge and just smooth over everything. Alright, so for concealer today, I'm trying the Benefit Boing Cakeless Concealer, and this is in the shade number 3. Like I said, this is not new, but most of these products aren't new necessarily, except for maybe the eyeshadow palette and one of the other products I'm going to show you in a little while. Those are new, very recent, but these other products that are new, I mean they're new to me and we've been out for a little while, but this is my first time giving them a go. So I am going to use my concealer brush and I'm going to blend the concealer out. So I like the coverage on this concealer so far. I think it is a good shade. It's brightening. It's evenly distributing out where I am blending. All right. Now I am going to take a mixture, because I actually got 2 shades of this, and I'm going to use my sponge to blend that out. So my concealer is set, and I set the under eyes and all over where I had applied the concealer with the Covergirl Clean Fresh powder in the shade Porcelain. Now this is not necessarily new to me. I've been trying it out a couple of times now, and so far I've been really enjoying it. Alright, so for all over the face today, we're using a super new product, and that is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Palette, the Sculpture 2020 Holiday Palette. I'm really excited that I got my hands on this. I am super excited to try it. So far at the top you have a few finishing powders a highlighter, a bronze shade, and a couple blush shades. So today this is what I'm going to use to set the rest of the face and to bronze and blush and highlight the face today. So I am going to take a big powder brush and I'm just going to go over these two shades here at the top together, all over the brush, and I'm just going to buff over the rest of the skin. Now, if you've seen my if I had $1,000 to spend at Sephora, what would I buy video, you would know that I had mentioned the Ambient lighting palette in the Ghost edition. That was last year's holiday palette, and I wanted that so bad, and I mentioned in my video that this holiday season, if they came out with another palette like this, that I was going to jump on it. So I'm really excited that I'm having the opportunity to try this now. I'm just kind of patting in both of these two shades up here, and then just buffing, tapping over the remaining portions of my face. I think it did give a nice subtle glow from within, and it set everything. So I'm going to use the bronzer in this as well, and that bronzer shade is down here in the bottom left corner, and that is the bronzer in the Natural Bronze Light shade. So I'm just gonna try to dip into this very carefully with my bronzer brush. Try to coat it all, dust it, and then this does has a subtle sheen through it, which is expected for Hourglass powders. Now, this is my first time trying an Hourglass powder in general, but from my understanding, most of their powders have a slight sheen to them to give a lit from within type of effect. Now, in the pan, it doesn't look this warm, but applied on the skin, it's actually looking pretty warm, at least in this lighting. So I will have to check in another lighting scenario, go outside and see in the sunlight how this bronzer looks on the skin, because right now it's looking kind of warm. And I don't mind a little bit of warmness when it comes to bronzer, that's kind of the point of it, but sometimes I do tend to go for a cooler bronzer just because I think that cooler tone looks better on my skin. I think when it tends to start getting really warm, you know, those reddy orangey tones, that just does not look like a, you know, sun-kissed bronze look on me. It just looks red and Oompa Loompa-ish, and that's not the effect I want to give for my bronzer. I want it to be, like I said, sun-kissed and lit from within. So I'm just taking whatever's left on the brush and just sort of going over the chin to sculpt that out a little bit, and down the neck, and a little bit over the nose. Now I'm going to take a clean powder brush and just dust over the edges, just a smidge. Goodness, the hair in my face today is just unrelenting. All right. I think going over it with a clean brush like this actually really helped and blended in and make it look more smooth. So for blush today, I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use this blush here on the end, the one that's more purple plum toned. I think that shade is going to look better with the effect I'm kind of going for today. This, you know, fall mustard sweater with the, you know, red brick brown eye. You know, I'm really kind of going for fall leaf colors today, so I think that shade is going to really match the tone with what I'm going with. And that shade is, I think, yep, it's 6, and that's Blush and Mood Exposure. So, going to take my blush brush and just dip right in, swirl it around, and let's see here. I really like this blush so far. I like the tone of it, and it is giving a subtle sheen, but not super intense. Kind of like, so the Milani baked highlighters, you know, Luminoso, it's a very popular blush that Milani makes. That one has a sheen to it, but I find that that particular blush, the sheen is almost makes it so you don't even have to wear a highlighter. It's just so strong and highlighter-like that you only need to use that one blush to really get both effect. But I think with this blush, you know, it's not giving a full highlighty effect, which I like. I like that it has a little bit of a sheen, but it's not, you know, bam. All right, so for highlighter, I'm gonna use the same palette, and I'm gonna go up to this top right corner, and that is the Strobe Powder Glistening Strobe Light. So, I'm gonna take my Milani All Over Blending Brush and just dab in it a little, and just hit the top here. I don't want to bring it down too low because the blush does have a little bit of a sheen. So I'm gonna go over my nose, at the bridge, a little bit in the cupids, and whatever's left just all over the forehead as usual. All right, so I really like how soft everything is looking, you know, and everything looks really smooth and blended, and I really like that. And so I think I'm really going to enjoy using this palette. I think it just really gave the complexion a really nice soft and smooth look to the skin. So far I'm really liking this, but definitely gonna check in a different lighting to see how the skin looks. Apply a little bit of an inner corner highlight. Don't want to use any of the shades in that one. I think I'm gonna use a shade from this Nudes of New York palette. I think I'm just gonna go in with the Originator and just pop it right there. All right, so now I'm going to smoke out the lower lash line a little bit. I'm going to take a more angled brush. Well, this doesn't necessarily have an angle. This is more of just like a very thin, flat lined brush. I like these brushes for doing close to the lash line because you can really get under the lashes and get a good blend. So I'm gonna start by taking the orange Story shade and the Soothe shade blended together, and do that mimicking the top. See how close I'm able to get underneath, and it's not dragging down. All right, I'm gonna just bring that over just a little bit more. Now I'm going to take the Globetrotter shade, and I'm going to go over that orange just a little bit with this shade. Now I'm going to go into the Wet n Wild palette and dip into that brown and trying to dust off some of that because I don't want it to get too dark. I'm going to take this fluffy brush and just go underneath and just blend everything together smoothly. And I think I'm going to take some of this yellow and pop it right into the inner corner, just to give it a pop of brightness and to really go with the fall vibe here. Just gonna do a little bit on my finger. I really like the look that we have going on right now. So we are going to spray the face and hop into brows and mascara and lips. And now that it's almost dry, I'm gonna take my sponge and just go over the edges lightly, just pressing in that setting spray. So for brows today, I am going to be using the L'Oreal Micro Ink Pen, brow pen. Now I did try this in my full face of L'Oreal, which you guys will see before this video. This one, as I mentioned in that video, has a point with the little hair-like edges in it that's supposed to mimic microblading. And I found in that video, that being the first time I used it, that it worked out better for me using the tip of it. So that is what I'm gonna do today. This is not, this is still fairly new to me and I'm still getting used to it. So, going to take a spoolie. And just start combing that in a little bit. All right, so now the brows are done. We are going to try out some mascara. Today I'm trying the Benefit They're Real mascara. Like I said, this is not new that I'm aware of, but it is new to me. So this is the first time I'm trying this. So hopefully it doesn't smudge or transfer throughout the day. That's definitely some main things I look for. Also flaking. I don't want it to flake down onto my makeup. So we're just going to start rolling this through. Now the cool thing about this brush that I'm noticing is it is a plastic applicator here, but on the end it has the spikes so you can turn it and really get into the inner corner without, you know, having to do this. You're able to turn it and do this and go individually in, which is very cool. I find that it's really separating the lashes and lengthening, but I don't see a lot of volume right now. But maybe if I apply a second coat. So while that is drying, I am going to do my lips. Today I'm using the Wet n Wild Lay Down the Mauves lip liner. One of my favorite lip liners. This is not new, but the lipstick I am trying is new, so I wanted to make sure I was laying down a good foundation. Alright, so now that the lips are lined, today for lipstick, we are trying the Revlon Glass Shine lipstick. This is the Super Lustrous lipstick in the Glass Shine line. This is a new line from Revlon, and I'm actually testing this out as a dupe. So the shade I have today is Rum Raisin. So we are going to give it a try. I really like the texture. It's very smooth and it feels really nice on the lips, and it does have a nice sheen. Okay, so now that the lips are done, I'm gonna go ahead and apply a second coat of mascara, and then we will be all finished, and we'll go down the list of items and see how I feel so far. All right, so we're just gonna go down the line. For primer, I use the Hard Candy Hydrating Primer. I have used this a couple times before. This is still new to me, but I did try this out for a dupe for the Milk Hydro Grip, and I think it is a great dupe for that, and that's one of my all-time favorite primers. So, safe to say I really like this primer. We're gonna see how well it wears together with the Beauty Blender foundation, the Bounce Foundation. I really like the shade. I like the color. I think it blended out really well, and it's given medium coverage so far, so we'll see how it wears throughout the day. Now I will be doing a separate video just trying this foundation with some of my all-time favorite products to see and really test how well this foundation wears. But for a first impression, I like it so far on the skin. For concealer today, I tried the Benefit Boing Cakeless Concealer. So far, the under eyes look smooth. They look brightened, and I'm not seeing any settling into the fine lines at the moment. It's not creasing at the moment, but we'll see how it wears throughout the day. Obviously for powder, I've been really enjoying this, and you know all about that. New eyeshadow palette that I tried out today, the Wet n Wild Fantasy Makers palette. This is the Mummy of the Year palette. That's what it's called. I'm really liking the tones in this palette. I really like the shades, and I think everything worked out really well on the eye. So I definitely recommend these, especially if you are looking for a really good and expensive palette to use. They have a bunch of different shades in these 10-pan palettes, so I like that for sure. Moving on, the Hourglass Sculpture palette. I really like it so far. I think it really gave a lit from within, smooth, natural sun-kissed look. We are gonna check in lighting to see how everything looks out in natural lighting, but right now in here where I'm filming, I think everything looks super smooth, and I really like it so far. I'm super glad that I have that in my collection now. For the brows, second time using this, I think it did the job. It filled them in, you know, I used the point, and I'm pretty simple when it comes to my brows, so I think this did the job for me. Mascara, they're real from Benefit. I mean, separating, it did, you know, a little bit of lengthening, yes, but it didn't really give me volume, and that's what I look for when it comes to mascaras. So for this, I'll use it for the separating aspect, and for the point of it, I think it made it really easy to separate out clumps. But I think for me, I'll use this up, but I would not purchase a full size of this. Oh, and then I think that's all of the new products. Oh, the lipstick. The Revlon Glass Shine lipstick. I think it feels good on the lips. I think it gives a nice shine. Honestly, it kind of feels like a chapstick on the lips. Very moisturizing, so I like this so far, and maybe, just maybe, this will end up being a dupe for what I think it is. So we're gonna get a couple more shades and try it out in a future video, but for right now, I like the shade, and I'm really liking this fall look. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all saw some things that you might be interested in trying out yourself, or maybe even trying this beautiful fall look. I'm so happy that it's fall. I got my sweater on. I love fall colors. This is just one of my favorite times of year, you know, leading into the holidays. I love it. So I hope you all had a great time with me. I would love it if you would like and subscribe to this channel. Feel free to comment down below. I would love to see your looks, recreating this look or trying out some of these new products as well. So thank you all. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.